Welcome to the new video. Stay a while. I've got some stuff to say. As some of you may know, with the Witch Queen expansion that I am so very fond of at the moment and playing so very much, there came a change to how you would receive catalysts for certain exotics. And all of a sudden, certain exotics had their catalysts available to them again through playlist activities. I've been running strikes to level up attunement weapons, among other things, your pinnacle cap, doing playlist activities, and every so often I find myself getting one of these catalysts. So I wanted to make a video about how I have found to be the fastest way to farm any catalyst. That's a little sneak peek. I have obviously set myself up on the moon, but I have already recorded the footage and I will be just doing a voiceover of that. So let's cut to that. So before I get into the meat and potatoes of this guide, some of you may have already figured out what the farm is, but I'll go a little bit more into detail what I specifically did to make it a lot easier for myself. I want to make it clear that this isn't a guide on how to farm for the catalysts. This is specifically how to farm all of those kills that you will need for them in order to actually activate them on your weapon. If you guys didn't know, there are 6 new catalysts that have been re-released with Witch Queen and have been added with a chance to drop from any playlist activity. So that'd be Vanguard, Crucible, and Gambit. The 6 catalysts that were re-released are Hawkmoon, Deadman's Tale, Aegir's Scepter, Outbreak Perfected, Whisper of the Worm, and the 4 Horsemen. This farm, to be able to level any of these up, works with any catalyst, as most of them, if not all of them, need to have some form of kills that you need to get. Usually that's about 400, and it can be pretty tough to get those if you're not in the right spot. You can go through your regular playlist activities and just continue on playing the game as you would, but I have found that this method is able to get you through those catalyst requirements as fast as possible, so you can start doing the most amount of work with those weapons instead of having to wait a long time and slowly progress your way through. I've tried farming for strikes, I've tried farming, obviously the public areas, but this is probably the best way to do it. On screen, you should be seeing some gameplay from me getting the Arbalest Catalyst as well as the Deathbringer Catalyst. These aren't included in the original 6, but I did receive them from playlist activities, so when I was grabbing footage for them, I decided just to do those 2. As some of you may have already figured out based on what's on screen right now, we will be doing the Altars of Sorrow on the moon in order to farm out the kills. There's a couple of reasons for this. The main one being is that this is, in theory, a potentially unlimited event, which means that it won't end at a specific time, and you can keep the timer going by just simply getting more kills. This also really works good for those exotics that need precision kills specifically, because enemies always spawn roughly in the same spot, so you can kind of put your crosshair right where their head's about going to be, and you can farm out those precision kills. Like Outbreak Perfected is a good example of that. I was able to get that here too. The reason I chose Arbalest and Deathbringer was specifically because they have different ammo types. Now, Outbreak Perfected and everything, Hawkmoon, Deadmans, they all use primary ammo, so we're not really worried about that. But it's those special ammo and those heavy ammo weapons that make for really difficult times farming for these catalysts, because you need ammo in order to actually shoot the gun and get the kills. All I did here was swap out some of my rocket launcher mods when I was putting on Arbalest for linear fusion rifle mods, so I could find more ammo, I would have more in reserves, etc. So whenever I would kill something, it would just have a higher chance and give me more ammo whenever I did get a drop of special ammo. And it's very, very important that if you plan on farming out multiple catalysts, that maybe you plan this out a little bit and you set yourself about, depending on how many times and how much ammo, it can vary pretty wildly. But with these 2, I averaged 45 minutes for each catalyst, and then they were completed. So the trick here is I want to get as many Arbalest kills as I can. I typically waited until I had about 2 clips worth of Arbalest to try to chain together as much as I could. And what you'll notice is that as time goes on, a lot of heavy ammo starts to drop, and I don't have any scavenger mods for heavy ammo right now. It's just that I'm not picking it up any longer. I have full heavy ammo, so there's no reason that I need it. What that means is that once we switch over to the Deathbringer and start farming that out, even though we're going to put on our scavengers and make it a little bit more consistent with the ammo that we're getting from these enemies, we already have a good supply on the ground, so we can just bang out a bunch of these kills immediately as soon as we start getting going. I would actually say that it probably took me maybe 55 minutes to an hour in order to get the kills for Arbalest. But because I had all the ammo already sitting there for Deathbringer, it might have taken me 30 minutes. That's why I'm saying it's about an average of 45 minutes per catalyst. Again, those numbers can vary. It really depends on how lucky you get with ammo, and it really depends how accurate you are with the shots. Another good example of this is there was quite a few times in Arbalest where I noticed that I was getting penetration kills, so it was going through the next enemy. That can really help. It also depends on a few other things. So here are the things that I would keep in mind when you are farming this. First things first, you want to get as far as you can into this event. Beginning parts of the event, you really only have one objective that everybody is kind of looking at. So the farther you get, the more objectives and the more things will be spawning at the same time, which gives it a little bit more availability for you to get the kills that you need. The next thing is you want a kind of a middle of the road populated world. Too much, you have too many players competing for kills, and that can infringe on your progress, and too little, and you don't all of a sudden have enough kills to keep up with the timer. And don't be upset if you make it all the way through this Altars of Sorrow. It's not a bad thing that you make it through, because the next benefit to this is that as soon as one ends, another Altars of Sorrow event pops up, starting at tier 1, and you work your way through like you did the last time. There are a few people that are doing roughly the same thing that you are, which is a good thing, because you know what those people are going to be going for your thralls and your acolytes, typically, sometimes a knight, sometimes an ogre, that sort of thing. Being able to keep up that time so that everybody can still get more kills. In my opinion, this is the best spot to be able to farm strictly kills or specific types of kills, because there are so many enemies spawning, there are so many ammo drops that you can get, and then you can swap ammo types if you want to. Like, even if you were working on an Outbreak Perfected but you wanted to switch over to something else, like maybe even Gjallarhorn, maybe you just completed that because you're returning to the game, it is a good option to start off with Outbreak Perfected, because those enemy types will spawn more heavy ammo, so that you already have that sustainability from the get-go, and you can just fire off rocket after rocket after rocket. For myself, as a returning player that doesn't know these farming spots and wants to get these different catalysts, because I'm starting to really enjoy this game the way that I think that I could have way back in the day. I do wish that I had known this before, because I was doing your typical thing, just going through strikes and getting as many kills as I could, when I could have just been doing these Altars of Sorrow and making way more advancements. So that is about it for the guide. Pretty short one this time. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.